Okay, it's 5:30, and we'll call our meeting to order for Monday, May 13th. Carl.
Councilmember Remley.
Here.
Ronayne.
Here.
Lunsman. Slate Hansen.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Bunceness.
Here.
Olson.
Here.
Rux.
Here.
Mayor Leeson.
Here, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we need a motion to approve the minutes of May 6th. Motion Rux and second by Olson. Carl, roll call, please.
Councilmember Remley.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Johnson. Bunceness. Olson.
Aye.
Rux.
Aye.
Mayor Leeson.
All right, motion carries. This is the time we're asked to make a proclamation for Kids to Parks Day, which is May the 18th, which is very appropriate that we would, given the scope and the expertise in our Parks Department here in the city. May 18th is 2019 Kids to Parks Day, organized and launched by the National Park Trust. Kids to Parks Day empowers kids and encourages families to get together outdoors and visit the parks. It's important to introduce a new generation to our nation's parks, and we encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle, combat child obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and more. Whereas Kids to Parks Day is open to all children and adults across the country. To encourage a large and diverse group of participants, we declare May the 18th Kids to Parks Day, which is kind of every day once it gets like this here in our cities. We have no one signed up for open forum, so we will proceed to old business. Ordinance 190502, offer for possible second reading. An ordinance passed last week authorizing street department to move vehicles. Anything new?
No, Mayor.
We have motion for final
Moved.
approval.
Second.
Motion Bunceness, second by Olson. Anything new come up this week? Carl.
Councilmember Rux.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Remley.
Aye.
Mayor Leeson.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we would entertain a motion to approve items A, B, C, and D on the consent calendar.
Move to approve all.
Second.
Motion Johnson, second by Bunceness. Questions on any? Carl.
Councilmember Remley.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Rux.
Aye.
Mayor Leeson.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to new business. Item A, water exploration agreement.
I can handle that quickly. We have Bob here, but I'll just run that quickly. The water treatment plant has been looking at other sources for water, and we are entering into water exploration agreements with a number of property owners. This will be the first of potentially several, and we would ask the court or the council to approve the water agreement payment.
Moved.
Second.
Motion Bunceness, second by Johnson. The payment is a $4,000 payment with continued annual payments until the termination of the agreement. Questions on the agreement? Anyone? Carl?
Councilmember Rux.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Remley.
Aye.
Mayor Leeson.
Aye. Motion carries. And Tom and Rich are here now to talk about a proposal from Rideline to start a summer youth transportation program. Welcome, gentlemen. You have the floor.
What we are proposing is to come up with a summer youth transportation program. We are looking at gearing it towards children ages 6 to 16. It would involve a $60 unlimited ride pass, which would cover the children to ride from June 1st through the last day of summer vacation, which ends up being on August the 16th, according to their school calendar. All rides would have to be scheduled the day before. They would need the ride prior to 4 o'clock p.m., just like all of our rides are right now. Some of the destinations could include, but aren't limited to, the Arc, the city parks, Fossum Field, North and South Softball Complex, Aquatic Center, Wiley Park, which would be stops at Storybook Land Entrance and the Pavilion parking lot, all the city parks, soccer fields, the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, Lee Park Golf Course, tennis courts, Lakewood Mall and the theater, and then also the Dakota Prairie Museum too. So looking at basically a way to get kids transportation. I know we've had a number of parents say that it's an issue trying to get their children to all these activities. Talked to several other agencies across the state, and they're doing similar programs like this across the state and having very good success with them. So I think by offering this program, we could increase our ridership. A lot of our state dollars are tied directly to the ridership numbers and the miles that we travel, so anything we can do to increase those would help us out financially as well. So
You anticipate this paying for itself with?
I am hoping to, yeah. Obviously. A lot of the, yeah, this is the first time we've done it this way. We did have a fixed route system back in 2010 and 2011. Those were not as successful as we would have liked. From what I'm hearing from the other agencies that are doing them, by doing the curb-to-curb service like we do now with our regular rides, it is more of a convenience, and parents are more apt to have their kids use that service.
Okay. You're asking for a vote of approval to
Start
put
the
this in
program.
place, so I'd entertain a motion on that, and then we can open
Moved.
for questions.
Second.
Motion Business, second by Rux. Questions, anyone? Alan, you had your hand up?
Yeah, how many vehicles would you project that would be needed to
As
fulfill
many as
demand?
needed. With the need for the people to call in and schedule the day ahead of time, we will know exactly how many vehicles we will be needing so that we can schedule enough drivers to have them to be able to all
Yeah,
be
what
picked
do you
up.
anticipate will be the hours of daily operation?
We operate from 7 in the morning till 7 at night.
Okay.
So whatever hours they need them to be.
Tim?
Can you quantify the number of parents that have expressed interest in this?
We haven't kept track of them. We've just had a number of people calling in asking if there was anything that was going to be done for a summer program. And like I said, we checked with some of the other agencies and them having the successful programs. We decided we would see if we could give it a try.
Well, I think we have about 400 students in each age group, so that would mean you've got about 4,000 potential customers in that 6 to 16 age group. So how many of those do you think would be reasonable to make it worth your effort? Haven't
Yeah,
thought about
Haven't put any numbers to it yet.
good for the ones that are in it, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, what we're seeing is in the summer our ride totals generally fall off, and with this being a need for programs that the kids go to anyways, we're hoping that this tries to keep our numbers basically where we're at running now. So
Okay. The other, Clint, you had your
Jen was first.
Oh, Jen, sorry.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I told Tom earlier when they had the fixed route, my children used that and we really appreciated it. It worked out really well for us. But I said that if we had this program available, we would have used it even more. It was this because it wasn't an option at the time. But so I think this is great, and I kind of am thinking about the interconnection here between the Ride Line program and the children's activities that are provided by the ARC, by the Parks and Rec Department. How this might help increase their use of those programs if children have easier access to rides. So I think this is great. I'm really glad that you guys looked into something like this. I'm proud to support it.
Have you thought about how you're going to market this, or?
first thing we're going to do, we've got I have a mock-up of a brochure that we're planning on using. One of my staff members put this together for us. And then we'll have that. We will also do some PSAs on the radios, all the radio stations, to make sure that they get it. These brochures will be placed at the ARC. And,
Have you thought about maybe teaming with the Boys and Girls Club to get some of these flyers out?
yeah, any of the places we have large number of kids, we'll be placing these there.
I do know that the Salvation Army said they do their lunch bag
Yep.
program. That'd be a good option for that
Yes.
too. Go ahead.
So you'll be back in front of us in September, October. Tell us how successful this was.
Sure.
Okay.
bet.
Perfect.
You know, we, as a city, we invest money in almost all these things. So, you know, whether this program pays for, you know, any use at all that we can add, you know, just helps justify the money we're spending on these other things. Whether this thing can be isolated as efficient in itself or not, just getting more people to where we're already spending money is worthwhile. So,
Yep.
I think there is a huge benefit in someone who may have to go to work early in the morning. A ride line comes, picks up their kids, takes them to the Boys and Girls Club. Parents can pick them up after work. I think that's. And will you be doing that? Could you? Someone say, "Hey, can you pick this person up every day at this point?"
Yes.
At this time.
Yeah, they can set up what's called a standing reservation,
Okay.
which would allow them to set up weekly or the ride for a whole month if they want to.
Okay. Perfect.
And they can go to multiple places too. They don't have to just go to one destination. They can go to the boys' club in the morning, get picked up, go to the pool in the afternoon, then picked up and taken home.
Perfect.
So it keeps them
Okay,
safe, I guess.
we ready to vote to approve this? Carl, roll call on the motion to approve starting this program.
Councilmember Remley.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Rux.
Aye.
Mayor Leveson.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks, Tom. And Rich, you have 3 payments to Helms and Associates on our next item C. Do you want to summarize those 3, and then we'll get a motion to pay them?
I do. The payment 16 is for the wildlife hazard assessment, and we're about 94% finished with that project. So we've got we've had the draft wildlife hazard and now assessment. We've gone through that. Now we've got the draft wildlife hazard management program. So we're finishing that up. We should have closure on this project by end of August. Payment 9 is for the master plan layout plan. Those are 2 separate projects within one big project, if you will. Those are 49% and 26% complete. Payment 6 is for taxiway Charlie, and that is basically a shovel-ready project. So right now we're just waiting on funding. So it's possible that if somebody turns in discretionary funding, we can get money a little bit earlier in the year, which would be super. We could get a lot of stuff done before winter. Realistically, we're looking probably that September, October timeframe, so we can start getting a little bit of it done before winter and move a lot of supplies and stuff in for springtime.
Okay, motion.
Move to approve all 3 payments.
Second.
Motion Johnson, second by Budsman, to make all 3 payments. The first $52.25, the second $14,109, the third $29,860, all to Helms and Associates. Any questions? Carl.
Councilmember Rux.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Remley.
Aye.
Mayor Leveson.
Aye, motion carries. Item D is a possible approval of the list of bills that you have received, and I'd entertain a motion to pay those. Motion Slate Hansen, second by Olson. Any question on any of those bills? Carl?
Councilmember Remley.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Olson. Rux.
Aye.
Mayor Leveson.
Aye, motion carries. Item E is payroll April 28 to May 11, and City Share of Social Security, Old Age, Survivors Insurance, Retirement, Health, and Life.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion Ruck, second by Remley. Carl?
Councilmember Rux.
Aye.
Olson. Bunceness.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Slate Hansen. Ronayne.
Aye.
Remley.
Aye.
Mayor Leveson.
Aye, motion carries. Lynn?
Okay, thank you. I'd just like to highlight one item within my city manager's report, and that is at the next meeting, Bob Brown is going to ask for support from the city council to enter into a contract with HRG to complete a water treatment plant facility plan update and optimization review. The expected time period to complete this review would be 8 months to 1 year. The last plant update was done during the time period of 2005 to 2006, so technology has changed, whereas a plant review could be beneficial in a cost perspective as well as treatment of the water options. And so I just wanted to kind of give you a preliminary on what to expect at the next meeting. This item was placed within his budget, and the proposal that we received would be within the budgeted amount. And so I see no negatives as to where this stands for possible upgrades for our water operation.
Okay. I have a couple items. Last week we had the postal people and the United Way here, and Clint and I had fun playing with that on Saturday. They don't have a final total yet, but we blew right past the record And the final total, I think they'll have for us by next week, and all of the food shelves will be replenished well, and those postal guys worked hard picking that stuff up. The other thing is, Chief, you got an event tomorrow for Special Olympics, a torch run?
We start at Simmons at 11:30, so if you want to come out and be part of that, or Simmons Elementary, that'd be great.
A lot of the Special Olympics people will start at Simmons, and they'll either run or walk over to the School for the Blind. Be a short program there related to the police officers' efforts statewide on the torch run. So anybody that wanted to participate in that is welcome.
What's the weather like for tomorrow? Have a look.
Sunny and warm.
Sunny daytime.
Very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know,
Low wind, 70 degrees.
you know what runners always say, no excuses.
That's right.
Run every day. Anything else, Maywan, before we adjourn?
Second.
Motion Bunsen, second by Rux. All in favor, say aye.
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 We're